Hey everybody, welcome back. This video is going to be about the GDAX exchange platform and its layout. I'm going to very briefly go over a few things, not a whole lot in detail, that'll be in some other videos. And remember, this is not financial advice. I'm definitely not a financial advisor. I did a little bit of stocks as a kid, not much. I didn't really get into it, but I do understand quite a bit more about cryptocurrencies, the backgrounds, the programming, and everything like that. So I figured this is something that I would dip my toes into and see if there was some money to be made. There is, but you have to play it right. And the gains that you get from microtransactions or transactions here in general, buying and selling, are larger the more money you have in. Key note though, do not invest more money than you can afford to 100% lose. Now, when I say that, that means the values that you have over here in the top left, on GDAX, those values that you're using to buy and sell with. The money that you have in a non-GDAX account, such as Coinbase, which is what we're going to be talking about here, a Coinbase wallet, that's fine. You're not buying and selling with it, so the value of Bitcoin can change all at once. It could go to zero, the currency could go dead. If it's in your USD or United States dollars account on Coinbase, you're good because it's not in Bitcoin. It's not in something that can lose value. A dollar account is like a bank account. Your money's still there. So again, don't invest more than you can afford to completely lose. This is a gamble. It's not nearly as stable as stocks. There is a potential for hefty gains, especially here coming in 2018. But always play it safe, guys. Okay? So with that said, let's kind of go over some of the things that are here, and then I'll make another video later getting into more of the specifics about the candlestick chart, how to read things, and all that kind of stuff. So let's start off over here on the top left. Is just hover over it and it shows you Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. What these are Bitcoin to US dollars, Bitcoin to Euro, and Bitcoin to GBP. And the percentage of change in value, in this case the value of Bitcoin against the US dollar, in the past 24 hours has gone up 0.55%. So, and these are all live views. And clicking on each one takes you to a different chart. So we're currently on LTC BTC, so Litecoin to Bitcoin. If I click up here, this brings me to the chart of Bitcoin to US dollars. Same thing if I go to Ethereum to US dollars. Now, I'm in the US, so I can't use Bitcoin, say, to GBP. Okay, I don't have that option. And margin trading I have never seen to work, and honestly, I don't have any use for it. I'm not really advanced, but I'm not necessarily new. I've been doing this for about 3 weeks, and I seem to be getting the hang of this pretty well. So let's go on down here to, well, up here, I guess. We'll do Bitcoin to US dollar. Actually, let's do Litecoin to US dollar. And I have, give me just a sec. Here we go. Okay, so I've already got a transaction getting ready to go through. I'm going to cancel that right now. So I have 6 and some odd Litecoin. If I were to sell my Litecoin at current value, I've got just over $600 worth of value to play with. I actually started off with somewhere in the vicinity of 250 maybe, and I've added I think $100 or $200 since then, and then the rest was all profit from buying and selling at different values. Not monstrous gains, but gains nonetheless. So it's money I didn't have to start with pretty much for nothing. It just takes reading the charts. So let's look at this section here. So you can deposit money either bank wire, Coinbase accounts, LTC addresses, which in this case, because it would be Litecoin, and bank account. I should show you here. There is processing time and a fee with transferring both from bank account and from credit card. If you're doing it from a Coinbase account, it's instant. But that's for another video here. I'll do a small little promo at the end. Okay, so, and obviously withdraw, and you can put it in either your USD wallet or your Litecoin wallet. Bank wire right to your bank account, or to another Litecoin address. So that's that. Down here we have market, limit, and stop order buttons. So market allows you to buy so much of a cryptocurrency with, say, $100. So if I were to go to Bitcoin and put in $1,000, it would get me at current market value at $10,984.99, 0.09 and some change Bitcoin. Obviously, if I were to increase that 5,000, I'd have 0.45 and some change Bitcoin. But if you buy with a market buy, which means instantaneous, as soon as you hit buy, place buy order, it goes here and it's filled instantaneously. That incurs a fee. It can, I think it's a 2% fee, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I don't honestly remember. I probably should look that up before the video. But it is a fee. It's fairly small. But again, it takes money from a transaction that you could have otherwise done for free. And that's one of the benefits of working with GDAX. So if I go to limit order and I were to place an order, say, let's go down to Litecoin, limit, sell, 3 Litecoin, and I'm just going to pull a value up here because I know it's not going to sell at that. It would get me 301.23, and I place a sell order. You'll notice right here that the fees are 0. A limit order does not have fees. The time is the amount of time that your order has been on your open book. Its current status, which if you hit this, you can cancel it. The price, which would have been the value at which you were going to, in this case, sell your Litecoin. The amount that's been filled, and it can fill in partial amounts. So it doesn't necessarily fill all 3 right off the bat. It may sell 0.5 and then another 0.5, then 0.01, then 0.01, and just work its way up until it gets completely full. Key thing to note here, if you have an order and it starts to fill, so let's say half of it ends up filling, or 3/4 ends up filling, and you want to cancel it and use some of the leftover to go do something else with, or leave it in your Litecoin, just hit cancel. Just hit cancel, and it will cancel the order as it stands. So whatever's been filled will stay filled. Whatever has not filled will go back into your Litecoin account and be available to either buy or sell or whatever with from there. Or you can wait until the entire amount has been filled, in this case all 3, and this whole line, this will say filled right here. It'll add an entry to the book. This is your personal transaction history down here on the right. I probably should have said this ahead of time. Green is buy and orange is sell. So we'll go ahead and cancel that. I could also cancel it from down here. And the same thing with the limit buy. You can buy out of any value here in the green. Again, it's a limit, so there's no fees. And you obviously pick what you want, take the amount that you want to buy in US dollars, and it gives you an amount of Litecoin you'll get at that value, and it goes in your book. Again, it can partially fill or it can completely fill. It's up to you. Just cancel it whenever you want. This is the order book. The top is the sell orders, and the bottom are the buy orders. So here we have a little more pressure, looks to sell than to buy after we hit this value here. And I'll go over that in another video in a little more detail. But this is called, right here in the middle, is the US spread. So this is the dollar value spread between the lowest sell order value and the highest buy order value. Now that is considered mid-market value, or mid-market price as they call it. And if we zoom in here, you can see roughly where it's at. So you can change this scale down here with the aggregation button. And if you had plus, you'll notice in this very bottom left corner here that the value goes up. We're at 5, 10, 50, $1, $2.50, $5, 10, and that's it. But you get to see the spread of how many orders there are at what value, at what price, at every given level for both buy and sell. You just kind of zoom out on the chart and you can see the whole length of the chart at once. Okay, I usually leave it at a 1 cent spread because I pick in 1 cent increments if it gets down to it. The lines kind of become fuzzy, especially when you get out to here. You really have to start reading the numbers after that. See, this 2,000 looks almost exactly like the 9,000. You can't tell the difference. But if you zoom in, suddenly you can see that it's not solid. So it is easier to read the farther you zoom in. The same thing goes for this chart here. Now this chart is the same thing as the order book, but in a visual format. So again, you can zoom out, and you can zoom out. We have much heavier buy orders on the buy side, as you can tell, 3.528 million on this side, and a maximum of probably doesn't even go all the way. But you can tell that there's quite a bit here, and I just don't see that overcoming that size over here. So we have less sell, more buy. This chart reflects that. You can hover over the chart and you can see at any specific value. And if you want to see smaller increments, then zoom in and do the same thing. The value of US dollars at that point, the amount of Litecoin that can be sold, and the total value of Litecoin at that US dollar amount that it's worth at that point. And that number obviously changes quite a bit. So we come out to the top, we're looking at US dollars 280 million. But at that value, you add all of these values up and you get the total market cap. But that's not what we're worried about here. Again, I don't zoom all the way in. On this particular chart, I'm usually one back from a full zoom in. And on this chart, I am zoomed all the way in. Let's go up here to the price chart. There are two formats. There's candle and line. So candlestick, as they also call it. This one is interesting to read. It's a little more in depth, but it gives you kind of a live view of the price change as it happens. So let's take a couple of these for example. If we look at this green one right here, you'll see how to read this is it started at a value, and you'll see that's over here in the little arrow, at 961. Excuse me. Okay, so it started off at 99.61 and ended at 99.82, but maxed out at 99.85. So it may have maxed here. So it started here, its maximum was up here, but it finished this 1 minute segment right here. This option here denotes each of these little sections is this amount of time. So that's for an increase like that. Let's pick this one. So it started off at 99.82. It maxed out at 99.83, but it finished the 1 minute segment at 99.82. So it didn't really go anywhere. This one, we started off at 99.83. We ended at 99.65, but at its lowest point was 99.56. So it got to the lowest point, but before the 1 minute segment was up, it actually ended that segment here. We can look at another one. See if I can find got to 15 minute here. See if I can find a good one for you. Okay, how about this one? This guy started off at 101.81 and ended at 101.46. Its lowest point was, actually it's probably up here, 101.03, and its highest was 102.01. Now, if it's orange, this top part is where it starts, and below that is where it finishes in the box. For green, obviously the bottom of the box is where it starts, the top of the box is where it finishes, because that's an increase in value. So that's how you read this chart. It's pretty easy. I don't worry about all of these numbers up here because, in all honesty, I don't know what they mean. I don't. And honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. I've almost never even looked at these. I mean, I guess I could decipher what they mean, but that's not really relevant to me. So anyway, let's move on to the candle, or I'm sorry, not the candlestick, the line chart. Now this is probably what you are used to seeing. So we're looking at a 30-day. Let's go down to a 30-minute. And this is, so as time progresses, which as you can tell, it doesn't give you a time going left and right, but it does give you a value going up and down. So 7:15 to 7:20, here's a 5-minute segment. So 7:16, 17, 18, 19, 20, that kind of thing. That's in 30 minutes. So a 30-minute is full left of this chart to full right of this chart. That's how you read these. Same goes for candle. 15-minute, in this case, is per block, per vertical segment. Line chart deals with the entire left, or far left to far right. So you can change it all the way back out to 30-day. You can see the progression of Litecoin against the US dollar has gone up. We had a small crash. It's since gone back up again, and will likely continue to go up. There may be occasional crashes like this, but if you can catch them in time and you plan very well, those can net you significant money. Don't bet on it. There's always the chance that you could lose out on it. You wouldn't want to sell when you get down here and then suddenly it jumps back up because you thought it was going to go down more, and then you buy up here and now you've lost this percentage of change. You didn't gain money, you lost money. So keep that in mind. Okay, and over here is the trade history. Sorry, my beautiful face is in the way. But this is all of the previous transactions that have happened against the order book, which is all happening over here. So when you start seeing segments graying out and blacking and stuff flashing all over the place and getting all fancy, you'll see this just jump around like crazy, and this value here will also jump around like crazy. So you can see recently we've had quite a bit of sells. There was several chunks of buying. And as you can tell with buying, it looks like the value is going up. If the buys outweigh the sells, the value goes up. If the sells outweigh the buys, the value goes down. Now, I will give you a real quick explanation on how I read the chart. This may not be the best method. I'm sure I still have some things to learn about this, but I'm getting pretty good at this. So let's take a look here. Okay, now trying to find a slightly better one for you guys. Oh, that's right, I can't do that. Okay. 30-minute candle chart. Let's do let's do 1-minute segments. Okay, so you can see this. So the way that I read this order book is that there, in the immediate future, within a 3-cent spread, there is more buying pressure than selling pressure. So this 876 is going to take out the 12, the 50, the 177, and part of the 1106. And by the time it gets up to here, 911 is probably where it's going to finish at high, maybe even at 910. Then the value is going to start going back down again, because at that point we'll have used up the buying pressure and the selling pressure will be more than the next segment of buy. So the value go back down. So this will probably max out, I'm going to say 910 is either 910 or 911, and we're at 907 right now. So in the immediate, I'm seeing more. Now, overall, I'm seeing more selling pressure, but in the immediacy, I'm seeing buying pressure being more. So I'll let this run for just a second so we can see what happens to this value. Now, this can change. Just because you read it as it sits right now doesn't mean that's how it's going to be. If you look at this number right now, and you were to turn your back and look back at it even a half second later, that 831 could go to 0. That means anyone who had placed a buy order at 0.00907 suddenly canceled their buy orders, then there would be no buy orders here, and immediately the sell orders would be higher, the value would go down. Now, people can put back in buy orders, they can increase, you can buy more at this value, and that'll increase the amount of buy pressure, pushing the value back up. So, I mean, it literally can change second to second. Just because you see it now doesn't mean it'll be that way 2 seconds from now. Now, I'm not going to do this video on how to trade. I'm just kind of going over the layout here. But I do want to, since I got this started, I want to show you what I got into here. Now, when you're doing between cryptocurrencies, in this case, Litecoin to Bitcoin, there is much more volatility. But the gains can also be much larger. So in this case, it can be a benefit to not have to go from, say you have Bitcoin and you want to get Litecoin. You don't have to sell Bitcoin to US dollar, wait for the transaction and the values to change, and then head on down to Litecoin and do a buy order from US dollar to Litecoin. That takes time, the values can change, they could change significantly, they could drop instantaneously, and you could actually lose more in value than you thought you would. Instead, just use Bitcoin to Litecoin directly. Let GDAX handle it in the background. Now this works for only a couple combinations. Between, you get Ethereum to Bitcoin and Litecoin to Bitcoin. You can't do Bitcoin to, Ethereum to Litecoin. That one is not available yet. They may not even put it in. I'm not really sure. But you can do Bitcoin to Litecoin and Bitcoin to Ethereum. You can do that. So we're still at 907. And as it always tends to be, I swear, when I'm looking at these charts, every time I start to stare at it, it plateaus. It just stays flat. It's like being dead. Aha. Now you see that? We still have more buy pressure. We went from 907 to 908. So I figured it was going to go up. It did. Not significantly, but it did go up. Let me zoom in here so that we're looking at the smallest segments possible. And I see a buy wall here that would take a minute to overcome before we pass this value and can push the value back down again, because that would be after we hit this. So somewhere right in here would be enough to overcome this buy wall and push the value the other way. So we're still at 806, and I said 90. Oh, I say 907. Okay, so we're at 908. Now, like I said, I swear every time I stare at it, it plateaus. And then every time you step away for just 5 minutes, it fluctuates like crazy. You know, it's really not a predictable thing. And that's not really a good thing if you're planning on making serious money. You'd like the predictability to be there, but unfortunately, that's just not how this works. There's way too many factors that cause the changes in values for me to even begin talking about. That's a whole nother ballpark. But, okay, so we are back. What are we at here? 907. Excuse me, guys. I'm getting tired. I think this is the last video for the night. So we're 907. There's still buy pressure. And I have these in, what did I say, 1 minute segments. So we're back up to 908. Still with the pressure. I think that might even go up to 909 before it hits enough that it can't. Now see, people are placing sell orders in here, which puts a little more resistance force against the buy orders in the active section here. Of course, if they cancel and this goes up, then it's going to be even more pressure, and that forces the value up even more. So you can also look here on the trade history and see what has been traded at what value and when it occurred. So you can see we've got a few buys, which signal that the value is going to start going back up. And those buys would be coming right out of here. If stuff starts selling, then you're going to start seeing some sell orders over here. So let's wait just a second here. We've gone up quite a bit on our buy pressure. It seems to have changed because the buy pressure forced the value, or the mid-market value, up just a little bit here. Still at 908 currently, but now the order section has changed. So 909 is our next sell, and there it is, 909, just like I said. Within this spread, 708 to 9010, 010, I don't even know why I said that. I'm going to say it will probably go back up just a little bit, but it won't be there for very long if the number of orders stay where they're at. I zoom out. I have a sell wall coming in, but the value has to go down in order to hit that. So 909. Okay, we just closed the gap. We're at 909 with a bunch of buy pressure against very little sell pressure. And I think the value will hit, there it is, 910, just like that. Now, once this clears, which will hit 911, yep, there it is. Right as I said it, too. Isn't that something? So now you notice we have more sell pressure than buy pressure. Now they're getting pretty well evenly matched here. But if this sell pressure overcomes the buying pressure, the value is going to be forced back down. Now, fortunately, we're getting an influx of people wanting to place buy orders, and then they cancel them. So it's kind of hard to tell. There's very little, it's kind of evenly matched. But in general, the value will go up just a bit, but I don't think it's going to hit 912. So with that, I think I'm going to end it here, and I will show you a little bit more about the order book and whatnot in another video. And look at this. Before I end it, let me show you real quick. So 1,000 on the buy pressure, 200 on sell. It's going to go up. I'm going to say it'll hit 912. It just has to overcome this block right here, and we will see in just a second. Yeah, look at that. There's my girlfriend. She's on camera. Just walking by. We're about to watch a football game. So, I've got a little bit of buy pressure here. 911. I think it will hit 912 as long as the order book stands where it is. Let's give it just a second, as I'm curious to see how that pans out. I may follow this for a little bit tonight before I go to bed, do a couple more trades, but no. Okay, that's temporary. 910. Still have quite a bit of pressure, so we're back up to 911. See, it was a temporary drop. 911. We've changed our mid-market value a little bit, and not quite enough to be 912, or at least what it shows as being 912, but it is up in value. So it's going to go down here because notice we have almost 1600 on the sell and 73 on the buy. The value is going to go back down. So yeah, that's pretty much how you read a chart like that. If you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comments, and I will let me know in the comments below, and I will try to answer what I can. If you have suggestions for another video, go ahead and let me know. And until then, like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys like everything, and I'll see you guys in the next video.